Yeah.
Hello there, boxing fans around the world. Thanks for joining us once again here on Friday Night Panel from the exciting episode with Mike, Lou, myself, Grumpy Graham. We're going to talk about boxing, upcoming fights, and some previews of other fights that I want to talk about, such as Ebony Bridges versus Alvaro Mafia. All right. Go ahead, Mike. Start us off.
Yes, for sure. Well, first of all, I'm upset that the Bouts fight is postponed.
Well, that's only funny because it was the first one that Peacock was going to stream live and introduce British boxing to an American audience. I thought that was hilarious.
And I was looking forward to this one. Aziz Bouts. It hits a roadblock. Unfortunate injury during Aziz's last training session. Has led to the postponement for this.
Bouts is a good fighter, but fighters get injured all the time. And for the most part, unless it's debilitating, they fight injured.
Yeah.
Like most husbands.
Well, Aziz, he's got a back injury. It's stopped him in his tracks. With medical experts advising him, his participation should not go on. So, you know what? Hopefully he gets well rested up so he can take an ass whooping for Bouts when they get this one underway again. Because you know what? I love me some Bouts. Hard hitting, heavy handed. You got to love this guy. This card was set up to be a banger, and unfortunate that we're not gonna get to see it. We had Louis Green on the undercard, Sam Gilly. There were some big fights on this one that unfortunately we're not going to get to see now. So until whenever it happens. So the other one though, we got to talk about Catterall, Linares. What are your thoughts on this fight? Super lightweight world title contender Catterall is set to defend his WBA Intercontinental title against Linares.
I think Linares is a good fighter, and he was a world champ, wasn't he, at one point?
Yeah.
But I think he's on the downside of his career, and I think Catterall's peaking. I think he definitely beat, I can't remember his name now, but the other British fighter, Josh Taylor. But I think he'll beat Linares. Although Linares is not a walk in the park.
No, not by any means. He's not a walk in the park. But this one's set. It's getting underway. Tomorrow, this one's on DAZN. Catterall, he's 27-1, 13 KOs. Who is keen on to reign as the 140-pound champ. Title. His controversial loss to former undisputed super lightweight Josh Taylor in February 2022. It's the only blemish on his record. He's eager for a rematch there. If he defeats Venezuela's Linares, he's also eyeing the winner of Haney versus Progress. So that's some big shoes to fill right there. That'll be a great fight. But yeah, I think he's got this one. After a 15-month hiatus from the ring, the 30-year-old left-handed fighter returned to score a victory over Darrell Foley in a 10-rounder. The contest was part of the undercard for Lee Wood's WBA featherweight world title against Marcelo Lara. Linares, yeah, he's on the downside of his career, on that downward slope. We'll call it the back nine. Is that what we'll call it?
Nine, mind you.
The back nine. He's on that back nine, just like when he hit 40.
I'm in my 60s, so I'm way past 40.
Oh, you're on the green ready to put it in, eh?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm past the green. I'm in the clubhouse with a defibrillator.
In the sand trap with no sandals.
That's right.
But he's already popular in the UK for his victories over Kevin Mitchell, Anthony Corolla. He plans to shake up this thriving 140 division by maintaining his unbeaten streak in the UK and thwarting Catterall's shot at world title in his next fight. So I'm looking forward to this one. What are your thoughts on Catterall there, Grumpy Graham?
I'm with Lou on this one. I've been reporting on this fight for a while now, and Jack seems to be hitting his stride right now, and good for him. But there's no shortage of competition out there, that's for sure. I mean,
no, not in the 140-pound division. That's
right.
For sure.
So it will be interesting to see who. I mean, I would call this a warm up, a tune up, whatever you want to call it. But there must be something in 2024 planned for him to move beyond someone like Linares. And I'm not really sure it's the winner of the Haney Progress, only because there's so many guys out there wanting the winner of that Haney Progress fight.
Right.
We started its own level of controversy this week as well, when there was accusations flying that Haney had erased a Mexican loss back in his early days, and I actually don't know the end result of that argument, but
I heard that and I just totally dismissed it. Like,
you know what? You never know. I mean, Rocky Marciano's looked at as 49-0, but he fought a guy in 48 named Tiger Ted Lowry, a black fighter, and he hit Lowry in low, and Lowry's leg, or he was hit in the stomach. Sorry, solar plexus. Marciano's leg came up, hit Lowry low. He went down. Marciano's disqualified. This was a professional fight. Overnight, the mob had it changed to a draw and then a no decision. And the next morning, thanks to Frankie Carbo, it was changed to a win for Marciano. And I asked, I asked Bud Schobert, how do you know that? I was there. I was at the fight. I still have the newspaper. So, yeah, a lot of records are like that. Apparently, Chavez had lost early on, but it was erased. I mean, it happens all the time. So I wouldn't be surprised. It may be true, it may not be true.
Right.
We're not dealing with honest people. It's boxing.
No. Honesty is the best policy in boxing.
But seldom ever seen.
Right. So you know what? Jack Catterall, Linares, WBA Intercontinental Super Light up for grabs. On the undercard, the co-main, Aquib Fiaz is taking on Reese Bellotti. That one's for the Commonwealth Super Feather. Also on this undercard, we got Peter McGrail back in action, trying to keep that O. This one's his 8th. He's taking on Fran Mendoza, who is 17-0. So this is, Peter's on that A side of this here. So we're gonna see what's going on with that fight. That should be a banger. Campbell Hatton back in action. This kid just keeps making waves, man. He took a lot of slack at the beginning of his pro career, and he seems to be coming into his own very well. He's 13-0 right now. He's going to be taking on Jamie Sampson, who's 9-2. This one, I think, is just hey, I'm still here. I can still knock you out. I can still finish this. Hatton 13-0. In that super light division, but still only ranked by BoxRec as 328th in the world. So, yeah, they got no respect for this kid, but he's got some good skills, man. I like
him. I think he's a good fighter. It reminds me of, the way people would put down Tim Tszyu. And I would say he can fight. He's got heavy hands, and anyone with heavy hands can do damage.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Campbell Hatton, great name.
22 years old.
Yeah, I mean, you can't write him off. He knows what he's doing. World champion father. So it's in the genes. He's being trained by the right people. And I think he will far. He's a good fighter.
Oh,
and people say, well, you haven't seen his bell wrong. Well, that's the whole idea of the sport. It's not. You're supposed to be matched for the best fights, least amount of risk for the most amount of money. So, but I think he's got the goods. What I can't believe, if we're talking British fighters, I was astonished that Lee Wood came back and beat Josh Warrington. I thought Warrington's well on his way. He's crowding him. He's not giving him room to punch. And then I couldn't believe it was over. And then, of course, Warrington had to spoil it by claiming it was a fast count. It shouldn't have been stopped. But, if you're that concussed, that's where those calls. There's no way. I mean, if the fight goes on, he gets killed.
Right.
Yeah. No, I know what you're saying. It's you got to save these guys from themselves, right?
Yeah.
Too many times they're they want to bitch and moan and complain, but we all watched it. We saw what happened.
Yeah, I mean,
when you get punched in the head, your interpretation of what was going on might not be the same as everybody who was watching it from the outside.
Yeah, when Chvallo knocked out Jerry Quarry in '67, Quarry said, "I lost track of the count." Right, because I punched you in the head. Corey went down 3 times for one shot, as George said. So obviously you lost track of the count. But when the referee said 10, your knees were on the canvas. That's a knockout.
Yeah.
He said that's not fair, and George laughed. What do you mean fair? It's boxing. It's not fair. What are you, 9 playing hockey? I hit you in the head. You went down for the count. That's the way the sport works.
No, I'm taking my ball and I'm going home, guys.
Yeah.
The big card, though, moving past this one, we all know Catterall, Linares. It's going to be a good fight, guys. But the one I'm waiting for, Lex Roca taking on Giovanni Gallo de Oro Santillan. These guys are set to collide in a 12-rounder war. This is going to be a war. This one's going to be a game changer for the division, I believe. Top Rank's got it going on with this one. Roca's the naval welterweight title holder with a killer record of 23-1 with 15 KOs. Isn't just a rising star. He's literally a viral sensation from some of his fights, known for his explosive power and strategic mastery. Man, this guy was fighter of the year. Fighter of the year to watch, and fresh off that dominating performance against Anthony Young, Roca isn't just fighting to defend his title. He's battling for that international recognition. He wants that big boy status, big belt, big boy status. Get rid of that NABO, throw in a WB something. That's what he's looking for.
Big boy status comes when you put asses in the seats.
That's right. And you know what? This guy, he's still young in the game. He's still young in the game. 24 fights. He's 23-1. He's only 26. Only 26 years old. BoxRec has him listed as the welter. He's ranked number 12 in the world on BoxRec for welterweight. Number 6 in the United States right now. And, I love him. Great southpaw. And the Anthony Young fight was great. If you guys ever seen that, go back and watch that. Prep you up for tomorrow night's fights. It's gonna be a blowout. I think Roca's. I think he's gonna take this one, and in devastating fashion, like he usually does.
Who was the fighter last week, Mike? The African American fighter who won in the United States at a lighter weight. The other guy gave him a good fight, but it was eventually stopped. He was being built up by Showtime.
What's his name? Oh man, there's so many of them in my head right now.
Right. It's a good fight. The one you mentioned is a good fight, but I think what's important is Bob Arum and ESPN are really the last one standing, because now that Showtime's gone, thanks to Al Heyman and mismanagement, Showtime for years overpaid their fighters. So everyone wanted Mayweather money, even though they were undercard fighters. Undercard fighters don't get, main event cash. And Showtime would pay for great fighters, but you would see the David Morrell, is that his name? And he'd pay for. He was getting $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, and I'm thinking, are you out of your mind?
Right, like.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. They're overpricing themselves. And finally, someone at Showtime woke up and said, we're losing millions each year. Why are we paying this much?
Yeah.
This is ridiculous. There's no way to pay that much. And as people have been saying, boxing's in serious trouble because HBO's not going to go back. And we're left with The Zone and ESPN and maybe a couple other streaming apps, which is where it's going. But if it doesn't get a network, someone major star, maybe like Graham, could throw his hat in the ring now, would be the best time because there's no one there.
I have.
Oh, okay, great. And it's just, I don't know how Ben Shalom did it in Britain and came from nowhere and started it, but without broadcasting, the sport's dead, and which is why it has a tough time in Canada, especially in Toronto, because no one ever can broadcast fights here. No one's interested. So what do we do at that point?
Right.
What
up, champ?
And it's going to get
apple juice.
It's going to get worse before it gets better. Chorus Entertainment's about to file for bankruptcy. So, a lot of networks they're losing money. They can't do it anymore. Hey, champ, I saw you twice this week. I saw you in that one thing with that beautiful suit and the bow tie.
That wasn't this week.
There was a picture of you online at some event at a Hall of Fame.
Oh, right.
And then I saw you working at the gym. You still have your hand speed.
I'm going to do like 20 minutes, and then I'm going to talk to you later after I'm finished what I got to do after that. I'll talk to you guys later, okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Now,
good, Jeff.
I was with Shania. Where was we at? Hall of Fame. We're getting interviewed. Yeah. That was the Hall of Fame. Hi. That was the Hall of Fame. I just got finished cooking the chicken and stuff. We went to the store. I got some chicken.
I'm going to have to come over and have some of that chicken.
My car broke down. So but I just got it fixed. Go ahead and finish talking.
Well, we were saying with Showtime dropping out of boxing, the sport's in trouble because it's only ESPN now and the Zone. And, Showtime was mismanaged. They spent way too much money on undercard fighters, giving them main event money. And there's got to be a realignment in the sport of who gets paid how much. And, it's going to be a long time before someone else wants to put their money in boxing.
And even with the celebrities like Tyson Fury, Tommy Fury, and all that type of matches, then you got all this other stuff. It's going to be rough getting back, right? The way it used to be.
There's good fighters, but it's not like in the 50s or the 70s or 80s where you could turn on CBS or NBC or ABC and you'd see good fights every week. Yeah. And now that's not going to happen unless you buy an app. And people are like, wait a minute, I got to pay $20 a month for an app. Plus I got to pay $80 for the app's pay-per-view. That's ridiculous. So fans have had enough. And this happened at Showtime where fans said, no, I'm not doing this. I'm not paying for your special service at Showtime. And on top of it, paying $100 for a pay-per-view that shouldn't be a pay-per-view. And they lost money. And so boxing has to have this radical realignment of the money and how it's done and treat fans better. If you're paying for the Zone, you shouldn't pay for a pay-per-view. You're paying under the premise that all the fights you see, you're paying for per month. But they're greedy. No, this will be more money. Well, then I'm not paying for it. So it's not just Showtime. I mean, networks everywhere in Canada, the United States, Britain are really getting pounded.
What's the recipe for trying to fix it?
Who you need people with deep pockets, but I was saying, you can't pay guys that are ranked 8th or 9th, $200,000, $300,000 a fight. That's just ridiculous. Because that's not a winning financial thing. You got to set up a thing where this is what you get, and more as you move on.
This apple juice is apple juice.
And
of course it is.
Look at Arturo Gatti. He didn't get big money when he started out, but he worked up to it. And Mike, you were talking about one of the guys on as a 23-0 record.
Yeah.
In the 50s, someone would say, "How can you expect a title shot? You've only had 55 fights."
Yeah, right. I know.
You got to have another 30 fights before you get close to a title shot.
Yeah.
And now they get it so early, and they get all that money, and people will look at a Devin Haney and say, "Yeah, he's a great fighter, but I'm not paying $100 pay-per-view to watch him fight Lomachenko. I'm just not."
No. You know what? See, the thing is that a lot of the times, the main event might be worth it, but it's that undercard that just, doesn't add up.
No.
Yeah, that's a problem. That's why a lot of these pay-per-views and just the prices in these days is ridiculous.
And it's worse in Canada because Yvonne Michelle owns the rights for most pay-per-views. So, if a pay-per-view is $79.99 in the States, it'll be $129 up here.
Yeah.
And people look at it and go, you know what? I'll just go to a bar or I'll go to my friend's house. My friend has I don't want to say illegal setup, but he's got his own dish. He's got whatever, and I'll watch it for free. And people say, you're ripping off the sport. How am I ripping off the sport? I don't want to pay $129 8 or 9 times a year to watch fights that aren't, that special.
Right.
They used to be like what, $50 or $40 to watch the main event or something. To watch one of those Yeah, it used to be like that.
Yeah,
I remember it was 30. It was 30.
Well,
used to be like $49.95 Rogers Cable. That's what they were charging. And then when they had the HD package, it went up by $10.
You know what happened?
$59.90.
In one of Mike Tyson's fights, there was a fight, I think, against Michael Spinks, where it went 93 seconds, right? So a lot of cable companies in the United States said, we'll give you some of your money back, right? That's what they said. But in Canada, Rogers Cable, which is the monopoly that owns cable TV, said, no, you get nothing back. We didn't guarantee you a length of a fight. We just guaranteed you a fight. It either goes 12 rounds or goes 8 seconds. That's your problem. No one forced you to buy it. And so then people just stopped buying it. They just thought, well, forget it then. It's not worth it.
How they going to fix it? How they going to?
Then you can find places to stream it. So, why pay if you don't have to?
There's free apps we all know of on the internet where you can see fights for free.
Yeah.
Oh, so Mike, okay, that's the trick man. Okay, Mike. Okay.
And when I asked my cousin, who's a lawyer, I said, is that illegal? He said, no. That they put the airwaves, or they put that show, bounce it off a satellite. If it happens to come to your computer, you're not at fault. You're not stealing it. You didn't ask them to make it available to you on computer. If they don't like it, then they can fix it and not make it available to you.
Yes.
So
to address your point, though, Lou, from the top down, and I've had many conversations with people, as I'm sure you have, about this, but what it really boils down to is marketing. And a lot of these boxing companies, professional boxing companies, don't have the marketing expertise. They don't have the type of power, if you will, to bring value to a fight. They can put a fight together. They can put boxers who want to fight each other together in the ring, but they don't know how to market it. So they don't know how to present it as a valuable proposition for consumers to look at and say, wow, I'm more than happy to spend $89 on that particular fight, and give them their choice. But that's the problem.
Even if the boxer's exciting and stuff like that.
Well, that's what Lou's saying. He's saying there may be one or two fights that are good on the card, but overall, is the card worth $90? And the answer to that is typically no.
No, I don't think it's like George Carlin's joke about the guy who didn't know shit from Shinola. He said, I always felt sorry for the guy that worked from Shinola. Hi, how are you? How you doing? I mean, you can't sell what wasn't there. When Ali fought Foreman, that's a pay-per-view fight. Yeah, you don't mind paying the money. When Leonard fought Hagler, that's a pay-per-view fight. But then you see fights today, like Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder. That's not a pay-per-view fight. That's two big heavyweights, but it's not worth pay-per-view.
And that's where I think supply and demand are going to be the factors that'll even this all out. At the end of the day, you're going to find now a lot of newer entrants to the marketplace delivering live streaming boxing, as we are, and as many others of our size will continue to do, and will fill the smaller market, so to speak. So, for example, let's consider Toronto a small market. It's got 4 million people, but out of those 4 million, how many enjoy boxing? A very small fraction, small percentage. But Lee Baxter seems to do very well filling Rebel nightclub when he puts on his shows. How many people would pay for a show online on a pay-per-view basis? I'm not sure, but it'd be worth testing the market out. So, I've offered to work. Well, as I'm saying, like even if you charge 1,000 people who are willing to pay $10, there's an extra $10,000 that the promoter didn't have in his pocket before.
Right. In boxing, you cannot rely only on the gate. No. Sport can't survive just on gates.
That's what I'm saying. Like at the end of the day, there's a lack of, like, Maple Leaf Sports Entertainment has an absolutely massive marketing department. Right.
I worked with them.
Right, but if you go to any of the big companies, any of the big five, so there's an oligarchy that exists who think they control boxing. Yet I was speaking to a decent little company, little out of New England called Granite Chin, and I was speaking to the guy who owns that. His name's Chris, and Chris was telling me that they're having greater success reaching the local the local boxing fan base in New England with their live streaming platform. So yes, they will sell out 1,000 tickets, make it look like an exciting event, have close, tight camera shots. And next thing you know, you've got yourself a really good television production. And he's having more success with that, targeting the New England audience who know the New England boxers who are fighting. And he's not worried about other fighters coming to his city or cities.
And he's not paying large sums to fighters, which is smart. I'm not saying to screw the fighters, but he's paying them appropriate sums, most likely. But that's not new. I mean,
I'm not saying it is. What I'm saying is that I think what we're going to see in the next few years is a whole bunch of independent promoters partnering with independent live streaming companies to service a local market.
Right, and that's important, and that's how Yvonne Michelle started out. That makes business sense because you're building up local fighters. But the problem with losing Showtime is you still need an international market to broadcast fights.
Yeah, absolutely. We had Rick Glazer on the show quite maybe a year ago. Actually. Yeah, and Rick was saying the exact same thing. If boxing loses its traditional broadcast footprint, how can you match the best from California with the best from New York or the best from any other country without that national footprint? And you really well, as of this year,
I'm just saying, you hear Showtime, they want to get that fight, and who's on it, right? Too many people.
It defrays the cost that the promoters have to pay out. So even if there's not a big audience in attendance, the TV money helps defray that. People also don't realize when you watch a fight from Las Vegas and you see Jim Carrey in the audience or some other actor or actress or Nicki Minaj, they're not paying for anything. They're paid to be there to get other people to come to see them.
Right.
So, I don't know we have Showtime, there's Cinemax, but Cinemax is mainly movies. So, when you look at someone's Android box, there's 5,000 different channels, and BBC Sports and Sky Sports have always done well with boxing, but boxing was born in Britain, so they have a bit, they can't sell enough tickets and give enough TV subscriptions. There's no chance in Canada because the fan base isn't here because we're too small a country, and if there was, the networks would be charging these fans so much money, it wouldn't be worth their while. And in the States, there's got to be. I think what you're saying, Graham, is a good point. You get the local New England guy, you build him up, and then he goes to California or New York and fights a local guy there, and then you develop these big followings. It goes back to the grassroots.
Right. So, and the other thing that I found too is these so-called big companies that control boxing, they're really limited in their scope or their vision when it comes to marketing. They know to put on a fight, you need to sell X number of seats. You need to put bums in those seats, okay? But that's all they know. They haven't yet undertaken the merchandising that's required to sustain the business. They haven't undertaken other revenue streams, whether it be books, magazines, anything based on the personalities that are being created in the sport of boxing. And they haven't taken advantage of any of the, I shouldn't say that because Tyson Fury took advantage of a recent show on his life. But the point of the matter is there are many other opportunities to exploit, in a good way, to exploit boxers and their personalities and their stories, because most of them have really good stories.
I agree, but I think that's all incidental, and I don't care about the books or any of that. I could fight, and only other than
you want to hear about the stories, though, right?
Yeah, but
you want to hear about the stories, but other than Ali and Frazier, who cared? I don't care about David Morrell's backstory, and I don't care about Tyson. I mean, that's just me. But talking about books and that, I don't know how many boxing fans can even read. So, I'm hoping they can. But
okay, I was using that as one example, one revenue stream out of many that they're not taking advantage of. Is all I'm saying.
Right, but as I've said to you before, the big time boxing is controlled by organized crime. Always has been since 1921, and it always will be. And through, not just through state commissions and sanctioning bodies, but criminals, mobsters, and they're not going to let other people in. Bob Arum has to still pay a couple $100,000 for certain fighters out of his pocket to their advisors when he wants to use them. That's just the way it is, and they don't like other people getting into the sport. Eddie Hearn does that too. People that have controlled boxing have it in an iron grip, and they don't care what other people think, and they don't want to let other people in on the pie. It's not right. It just is.
They don't want to take that chance.
No, I mean, no one that I know of. I mean, someone in Toronto like Irv Ungerman, who had a lot of fighters, Chevalo and Clyde Gray and other fighters, but still had to pay out to the mob and other people, to fight certain guys in certain places. It's just the way it goes. I mean, Tyson Fury had a lot of mob backing, although they've since moved to Dubai, but that was revealed in court. And a lot of the guys have mob backing. And as Lennox said to me, it's inescapable. It's part of the sport. You can't get rid of it.
So Tyson lives there, or he fights there?
Tyson lives in England.
Yeah.
But he got a lot of money, and he got to fight with Klitschko and other people because he had the right organized crime people behind him to put pressure on them, and could say to the Klitschko, "This is what you're going to get. You'll get more than I will, but I'm not. It's not going to be you get 40 million and I get 1 million. It's not going to go down that way. And I've got the muscle to back it up. And that shouldn't be that way. I mean, Graham has great ideas, and I'm not saying they won't work. They will work if given a chance. It's just you got to do it in your own piece of the pie. And what boxing needs is a national presence across North America. And right now it doesn't have that other than ESPN. And I mean, ESPN knows what they're doing. They've done so well, and they've been in business a long time.
Right.
And I mean, when I was a kid, I bought everything on Ali. I have the Ali versus Superman. I have the Muhammad Ali costume. I have the Muhammad Ali record. Muhammad Ali plastic figures, T-shirts, anything. If he had toilet paper, I would have bought it. So anything with Muhammad, I bought. But I didn't do that with any other fighter.
Right.
Even Ray Leonard, maybe Joe Louis, but there are, like you're saying, there are fighters today, that, I mean, Tyson Fury's an interesting guy. The Oscar De La Hoya documentary was interesting. He's no longer fighting. Floyd Mayweather is incredibly smart, the way he handled his career. And so, George Foreman turns out to be a genius and a billionaire.
Do you think Floyd handled all his business by himself?
No, he had help from Al Heyman.
Yeah.
And Al Heyman, and that sort of wrecked boxing because everyone, as you know, Tim, wanted Floyd Mayweather money. And you can't get Floyd Mayweather money. Floyd Mayweather, like Ali, filled arenas and stadiums. Everyone came to see him lose, but so what? He still got a piece of every ticket. And what fighter today can do that? Maybe Fury.
Yeah, he's getting ready to go over to Saudi Arabia.
Right.
Yeah, they want me to go over there.
You were saying,
you going, champ?
I don't know, man. Look what's going on over there.
I think you should go, champ.
Everybody's saying that. It's getting tough over there, man. It's getting tough. I mean, I can use the money, but I just got to really think about it. My mom really feel kind of like she's like 88, and she keep calling me, Timmy, don't go over there. Don't go. I don't want her to get sick. And the more that you watch the TV and you see all this stuff that's going on, just like anything can happen, So I'm gonna really make a decision on doing that. I don't care about the money. I do need it, but my life is more important than just grabbing that money.
Saudi Arabia is safe and
That's what they saying. That's what they saying.
Not near the fighting. I'll tell you something, Tim. In Toronto, 20 minutes from where I live, I'm not gonna. We're not here to do anything with politics, but there was a man arrested in a Jewish neighborhood with an axe and a gun tonight.
Okay.
Outside a synagogue.
Oh, God.
So police SWAT team had to come and take him down. And he was looking for people to kill.
Wow.
So you're not safe wherever you go. But I think if they're going to invite you, then they're responsible for your safety. Therefore, they're going to, protect you.
Speaking of that Saudi Arabia fight, they're only charging $21.95 to watch this one. TNT Sports box office.
Wow.
$21.95. That's pounds, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So hey, that's pretty cheap. We were just speaking about that.
So they
but I'm not paying that $21.95.
They offering 15 grand, but I gotta really think about that,
they're gonna treat you like royalty.
Tim, why don't you just say, listen, 15 grand's nice, but I was the heavyweight champion of the world, not the heavyweight champion.
They don't care. They get somebody else. There's a lot of people going, everybody going. Larry Holmes, as far as I know, everybody. Shannon Briggs. Mm-hmm. Shannon Briggs. So
you got to watch out if Shannon Briggs is there because he'll try to start a fight with Fury or someone.
They bringing them over too, and they bringing like 50 people over. So I don't know. I might. We got their passports and all that, but
you know what you could do? You could say to Larry Holmes, if I don't make it, pick up my 15 grand for me and just bring them
back. They're not going to pay me. They're not going to pay. I know they're not. So I just got to really think about it. And every day something happens. They put limitations on certain things, leaving the country or whatever, and going over there. And 15,000 sounds like really good, but I'm gonna think about it.
I'll tell you what, if you don't go, I'm a Jew and I'll go. I'd be less safe than you.
You know how to say the prayer. You know how to say the prayer for food, for dinner.
Yes.
Let me say it,
please.
Bara Atai, Denai, Elamain, Miko Horace. Wait a minute. Bara Atai, Denai, Elamain, Melakalam, Amochi Lekamiko Horace. Blessed are thou, our Lord, our God, King of the universe, who bringeth forth bread from the earth. Amen. I was in Jewish summer camp.
Wow. I was there for one day and got kicked out for beating up another kid. He made fun of my name, and I beat him up. And then I was told I had
to. Say that again.
Two fighters you got to watch on that Roca card.
It ain't even 8 o'clock.
Scrappy Ramirez is fighting again.
He, my boss.
Ronald Batista. That's the co-main event. And then look out for David Stevens.
What did you tell him?
Taking on Joshan James, who's 7-0-2. This one's just going to be like 5 minutes. Stevens. I don't know if you guys know this kid. He's now ranked number 40th in that super middle. Definitely watch out for him on this fight card. And that John Scrappy Ramirez. I love watching this kid. Energizer Bunny. Yeah. You guys got no off switch. Like literally just comes through. And, Scrappy really, it really says who he is, man. He is a scrapper. So so I'm looking forward to this fight card. Other than that, I don't know. There's some other names on here. Gabriela Findora is going to be fighting for the IBF World Fly, taking on Aurelia Musino. Mm-hmm. And that one's scheduled for 10 rounds, 2 minutes, and I'm thinking Gabriela Findora should take this one. She's 11-0. She's been coming up. Musino, she's 32-3-2. Been in there for a long time, but really like this girl Findora. She's on this B side, but look out for this girl. She's a force to be reckoned with.
Ken Norton was the B side when he fought Ali in San Diego. You know,
sometimes that B side will give you a beating.
Yeah. Yeah, that you know, that happens. Jersey Joe Walcott was the B side in his first fight with Lewis, and he beat him, although he didn't get the decision. That happens.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes the person's desire and skill is so great that it doesn't matter who he's fighting. Like Buster Douglas with Tyson.
Right.
You know.
His mom died, and that gave him that little push to
push.
But you know, somebody told me that Mike didn't care about Buster. He was partying. He was messing with women.
Yeah.
No, that's.
I don't even believe it. I'm pretty sure I heard interviews where he said he didn't even step in the gym.
Yeah, and also he made.
I think he stepped in the gym, but he
wasn't stepping in the gym like supposed to be stepping in the gym.
Right. And he made rude comments about Buster Douglas's mom after she died. At which point, Angelo Dundee said to me,
"You serious?
You don't give the other guy motivation. Like, why would you do that?
Yeah, right?
You know, it doesn't make sense. Now he's going to want to kill you."
Well, wow, that was messed up.
Yeah. And so Buster,
Mike said that about Buster.
About Buster's mom after she died.
I don't believe that. He said that, huh?
It was on tape.
Wow, he probably regret that because
he said I was young and whatever.
Okay.
Buster was looked at as a joke, a sparring partner. No one took it seriously. Wow. It's like when people don't realize, I'm old enough to remember, although I was very, very young, but when Ali fought Liston, Ali was considered, or Cassius Clay was considered a flake. He's amusing, but he's not going to go around with Liston. There's no way on earth he can beat Liston. You know, the best odds you could get were 7-1 against. Right. Most had it 10-1 or 15-1 that Ali doesn't go one round. And when Ali won, they wouldn't believe it. They just wouldn't. Right. Well, it had to be fixed. It just had to be fixed. There's no way you can beat Liston.
So Ali pulled a rabbit out the hat, huh?
Well, Ali said before the fight, you see him, and he said, "I'm tired of all you big mouth reporters. You're sitting here building Liston up. You know he's in his 40s. He's not 32. You know he works for the mob. You never mention it. He's slow. He's ponderous. He does the same thing. 2 steps forward, double jab, right hand.
But he could punch. He could punch.
Right. But he said, doesn't matter if he can punch. You can't catch me." And he said, I'm too young. I'm too pretty. I'm too quick. I'm too mobile. And I hit a lot harder than he realizes. I'm not a child. I'm 6'3 3/4, and I'm 210 pounds. I'm going to whoop him. And no one believed him.
Oh, like a butterfly, sting like a bee.
Fight card in Pickering tomorrow night. Yes, Josh Wagner taking on Abram Ramirez. Mark Smither on the card, another undefeated super lightweight, taking on Paul Cicito. We got Sarah Joe, who's 2-0 right now, coming up in that Superfly in the women's division, and Joshua Frazier, 8-0. This kid, super welterweight out of Canada, great kid to watch. This one's taking place at the casino. Too bad we're not going there. Tyler Buxton. Hey Tyler, we emailed you. What happened?
I've been to a lot of Tyler's fights. Tyler's a really good promoter, and I like him a lot. He knows what he's doing.
I guess he doesn't credit us as being media.
Well, I when I went to his fights, I worked for the Fight Network, and then I covered him for some papers after. But
is he Canadian?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's Canadian. Frazier's father, Dwight, is a very good trainer, very kind-hearted person, and very knowledgeable. You know, and it's a good fight. But even they're pretty well the promoters in Ontario. I mean, I shouldn't say that. There's other promoters in Ontario, but all of them still have problems. You know, they're lucky to get on cable access, and they put on good fight cards, and people.
Yeah, they do. They always they have good matchmaking. And
they offer it for nothing.
Yeah.
The TV and TV stations go, no thanks, and I don't understand. You're getting free programming you can air any time, and they still say no.
Another card.
One sec, Mike. There. The irony of that, though, Lou, is we at Talkin Fight get invited every day by promoters in the States as to whether we want media accreditation to their fights. So Talkin Fight gets invited to American fights, yet we don't even get invited to one that's happening 20 minutes away from us.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of a weird, Canadians just don't. Anyway, I won't go there. But before you start on another fight, I want to bring us back just to that heavyweight division for 1 second, because I was reading this interesting article about Mahmoud Char, who took over the WBA, I think, regular heavyweight champ title, and so he had to defend it against, I forget who it was, not Jermell Charlo, but someone Jermell, and that guy for some reason backed out. So now the WBA have to find him a ranked competitor. And the big name that's come up, unbelievably, because we can't ever go by without speaking about Eddie Hearn. But Eddie Hearn is saying, why not Anthony Joshua fighting Mahmoud Char, which will then put Anthony Joshua in a position to fight the winner of the Usyk Tyson Fury fight. There you go.
Well, I think Mike's reaction is the reaction that all fight fans around the world will have.
Yeah.
They're it's like saying, this is what I'm going to do. In order to get a title fight, I'm going to fight 85-year-old Lucille Ball. And when I knock her out, but she's 85 and she's a woman. But when I knock her out, that puts me in line for the title. Yeah, if you beat someone who wasn't 85 and a woman. Manual char it sounds like something you set at a setting on your oven. Set it to manual char.
I thought she was older than that. I thought Lucille Ball was older than that.
Yeah, and so I'm.
You guys are
I love making Mike laugh. That's my favorite thing. But
Mahmoud or Manuel, whoever we want to call him. Anyway, he's fought something like 6 times in the past 3 years. Like if I'm not mistaken, like he's not exactly sitting and defending anything. He's obviously looking to make a buck. But I just thought it was funny that somehow whose name slimes into the picture? Anthony Joshua.
Eddie Hearn is like Yosemite Sam from Warner Brothers Looney Tunes. I'm gonna tell you something, Rabbit. He just can't believe a word that comes out of his mouth.
I'm gonna have to go, but I'm gonna talk to you later or tomorrow. Okay, we're gonna work things out. But I have to do something. I have to do something in a few minutes.
Okay, champ.
It's gonna be, but I'm gonna talk to you guys about it. Okay.
All right.
I'll talk to you about it and stuff. And
have a good night, champ.
Okay, and you're almost over anyway. I want to thank everybody for. I just want to thank you for having me on. Okay.
You don't have to thank us, champ. The privilege is ours.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. All right. So I got to do something else, but I'm gonna talk to you about it. Okay.
Okay, champ.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Talk to you later.
Have
Be
fun,
well,
Tim.
champ. Always.
All right. Thank you.
But Graham, I mean, Eddie. We could do a whole show on the ridiculousness of Eddie Hearn's.
Absolutely.
I mean,
the comedic stylings of Edward Hearn.
Yeah. I mean, calling Manuel Char a heavyweight champion, it's like calling the CFL a football league. Now, I shouldn't say that because I have a lot of friends that like CFL, but
eight teams and they all make the playoffs?
Yeah, and they're all named Rough Rider. So
CFL, the participation league.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. Punt, pass, kick. Anyways, Eddie Hearn's an idiot, and he's a moron. And I feel like that Rick Moranis character is the agent on SCTV. You don't know what you're talking about. You're an idiot. And Eddie Hearn just, Anthony Joshua will fight him, and then he's going to fight Joe Louis's widow. And after he beats her,
I heard Muhammad Ali is coming back from the grave to take him on after that.
Right, and Muhammad Ali's great granddaughter, who's 7, she's going to go on and fight Manuel Char. And then, of course, when she wins, he's going to have a big problem. So, I mean, Eddie Hearn should just shut up. Josh Warrington didn't lose; he got knocked out. My fighters didn't take drugs; they were caught on 3 different tests. Eat all 4 of them. Better just to say, yes, they did it. Sorry.
So what you're saying is he's talking so much shit he needs hip waders?
He needs hip waders. I mean, if he talk any more shit, you need a plunger to put in his mouth. I mean, I feel like Rodney. I'm all right now, but last week. I mean, this guy, it was like listening to Don King. And that's Eddie Hearn. And when I watch Eddie Hearn, I just mute the TV. It's the same when can I talk to you about life insurance? No, get lost. I just mute it. I can't listen to Eddie Hearn. It's the same as when I saw the broadcast with Adrian Broner. Broner's got him hurt, and Broner's this, and just shut up.
It's like those, like the useless facts that some of these commentators throw in during the boxing match. Did you know that he likes to water his grass every second Thursday at 7 p.m.? Look at that jab and the right. Oh, and did you know that he also volunteers down at the local pool scooping up shit?
Of course, it's a blow-up pool in someone's backyard, but they call it Child Wealth Services, but he still volunteers. So it counts against his criminal court date. But still, I mean, when Broner was getting killed by this guy, when Broner wins, he'll fight Devin Haney. Broner couldn't spar with Devin Haney.
No.
Broner's old, fat, like me, and over the hill. His boxing career is over. And, of course, he did a very smart move. He signed with 93-year-old Don King, who's got less pull than a fish. So, I mean, and these are the things we all three of us were talking about before. The boxing fans watch and think, so I wouldn't mind watching Broner get knocked out. And, $29.99. Are you kidding? For Adrian Broner? Forget it.
Like, what's... I'd be rude, but I shouldn't because, I could say other things. Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, I better get something out of that $29.95 other than that fight.
Yeah, and as much as I don't like Don King, when you look at his fights from the 70s, the undercards were phenomenal.
Yeah.
I mean, he had Eddie Mustafa Muhammad. He had Mike Rossman. He had Matthew Saad Muhammad, Yaki Lopez. I mean, Alexis Arguello, Aaron Pryor, all these guys on undercard fights. These were stacked fight cards. And now you don't see that. And now when you read the commentary, right, online, or, which is the only place you'll find it now, they just say, undercard is terrible, but the main fight should be pretty good.
Yeah.
So,
well, this next card I'm going to mention, Ben Shalom, last one I want to talk about, Lewis Green taking on Sam Gilly for the Commonwealth Super Welter title.
Gilly's a good fighter.
Yes. What I do like is the undercard here. Mikhail Lal, 17-0, cruiserweight, taking on Isaac Chamberlain. That one's for the British cruiser title. And then Chris Artingstall taking on Vanessa Bradford. Artingstall, she's great. Love watching this girl. 4-0, trying to keep that O going. I think she's going to do well. Also, Michael Hennessy Jr. is taking on Joe Laws. This is a nice little card here that Boxer's putting on. It's going to be shown on United Kingdom Sky, so check that one out, guys, if you don't want to watch the other ones.
Well, here's a question, because Graham, you mentioned the local promoter who's putting on fights.
Lee Baxter.
Yes, and so I always wondered where his money comes from. Where does the money come from? And with Ben Shalom, where does he come out of nowhere to do this? Right. I mean, this is where people say, well, it has to be the mob, because who else has the disposable income? The banks aren't going to give them the money. You're not going to get a broker to give them the money. I mean, the money's going to come from somewhere. And mobsters are usually the people with the most disposable income that they can give someone. So I'm not saying they do that. I'm not saying Baxter does that or Ben Shalom. But who knows where the money comes from?
Exactly. You never know.
So, and is Amanda Serrano ever going to rematch with Kate McKinnon? Was it Kate McKinnon she fought?
Katie Taylor?
Katie Taylor, that's right.
Hopefully.
I don't think so.
No, it probably won't happen.
That was a great fight.
I'd like to, if we only got a few minutes left here, I wouldn't mind talking about Simon Keane.
Go ahead.
Only for our British friends who are listening. Simon Keen,
Yep.
I believe he's heavyweight,
Yep.
and he's over in Saudi Arabia to fight October 28th, I believe, on the undercard of Fury Ngannou. But we tend to overlook him, and he's got, okay, I'm just guessing here, 22 wins out
23.
of 20.
He's 23-1 with 22 knockouts. So
he lost to Dylan Carmen, I think, once.
So he's up against Joseph Parker. So that should be a good fight. And that should put the British on notice that, hey man, North America's got enough heavyweights to take over those top spots that are being left vacant.
Well, his last fight, he took out Eric Molina, TKO in the 7th.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I like him. I just think not a criticism, but sometimes during a fight his balance is off. But so are a lot of fighters. But I like the look of him.
Yeah, like he's ranked 34 out of 14, 17 in the world. He's number 1 in Canada in the cruiserweight. But his age, he is 34, right? Like now's the time to make a push. He's not really ranked high enough to be in that world title contention yet.
Yeah. Well, except for Tyson, and Ali, most heavyweights don't mature till later on.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. But as Canadians, if we don't get enough fights, we get rusty.
Yeah.
And Keen's really not fighting enough for me or for really people to really know him. He's not getting enough exposure. That's the problem.
I wanted to make a quick comment about something, Graham, you said earlier. It didn't come out right. You were talking about the other revenue streams and books and that. It's not that I said I don't care. That's not true. I do care. I said what I mean is what's frustrating is you come up with great ideas and then the people in charge go, I don't want to hear it. And that's frustrating because you think you want to say to them, you can at least listen for 60 seconds. It's not going to hurt you. Listen to my idea. Nope. And if you do tell them, it's more than likely they'll steal it. So,
well, what I found is you tell them a great idea and they say, okay, how much are you going to pay me to implement that great idea? Like, in other words, if I go to a promoter and I say, can we do this, 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 and this, in terms of what's on the table with respect to the grant of rights, they'll turn around and say, that's fine. You pay us up front. If you think you're going to sell 1,000 books, pay us $10,000 up front and you can have those book rights. You want the movie rights? You think you're going to sell a million tickets? Then give us $1 million up front. And that's the way the common promoter looks at it. And as opposed to a partnership. So it's not easy dealing with these guys who don't think outside the box and have no marketing experience. I wanted to just give a quick little shout out to an upcoming production that we have in the works coming out of Kenya. We've been talking a long time about promoting some of the fights that are happening in other parts of the world, and to Women's Boxing Channel, who's listening to us. The first fight that we're going to promote out of Africa, taking place in Kenya, is actually headlined by 2 women fighters. So shout out to the East Africans. This particular card that we'll be live streaming has fighters from Uganda, Tanzania, and Kenya, and it's a very competitive little trio of countries in terms of boxing. We're also going to be showing fights from Ghana and Nigeria, as well as South Africa, just to name 6 countries that have really, really good boxing competitions and good fans, both men and women.
And histories. You know who the first native Nigerian fighter to win a world title was? Hogan Bassi, featherweight champion.
Oh.
And he lost to Sugar Ramos. And Ghana, of course, is the home of the immortal Azuma Nelson. Right. But both those countries have over 100-year history of producing champions.
Wow.
So great fighters coming out of Africa like Dick Tiger and that didn't happen out of nowhere. I mean, right. They learned it in World War I from the French Army and the American Expeditionary Force. They learned how to box and they loved it.
Yeah.
So they're keeping it alive.
And so are we.
Yes.
Yes, we are. On that note, that's our hour. That's our time. Yeah, I loved it. It was great talks. Lou, Graham, always a pleasure. Shout out to all the people who dropped comments. WBC, always a pleasure. Love that you're following all the shows. He's a regular with Talkin Fight, and we love the support. And yeah, thank you to all the Talkin Fight fans around the world. Thanks for watching this week's episode of the Friday Night Panel. We'll see you next week, same time, same channel, new topics, man. Remember,
Thanks, guys.
fighting solves everything.